notice of this meeting was submitted by fax to the Spartanburg Herald Journal, posted on the bulletin board in the lobby of Town Hall and on the Town Hall's website. Roll call.
Ms. Green, Ms. Eastler,
Present.
Mr. Kennedy,
Here.
Ms. Byrne,
Here.
Ms. Cannell.
Here.
Mr. Canby,
Here.
Ms. Hardy.
Okay, minutes from April 14th, 2026. Any discrepancies that anyone notices?
Make a motion with 7 minutes from 2024. April 14th, 2026.
I second.
Oh, she is here. That's
Hey, Danielle.
Say present.
I just made a motion to accept the minutes.
We're on
Second.
minutes.
All in favor?
Okay.
All in favor?
I like
Anyone
to,
opposed? I got it, Ned.
okay.
We're good. Old business. Did you want to request that?
Yes, I'd like to add, well, I've not discussed that, the whole business I was going to do before,
The new
before old
business?
business.
You want to do it before the old business?
Yes, mhm.
Okay, you have to make a motion.
That's what I want to make a motion to amend the
Agenda.
agenda to include discussion of 150 down there.
The doctor's office?
Yeah, the doctor's office.
The old doctor's office?
Yeah.
What's that, 390 Glen Springs Road?
Is that what the number is?
Is that the number?
I think it is.
Not 390. Cross Road.
All right, so then make a motion.
Give me 1 second.
I'm making a motion.
I'll second it.
It's 391.
391?
Okay. Motion made and seconded.
I did. I made it.
Okay. All in favor?
You're not running the meeting, Ned. I'm sorry, but we have.
I'm in a hurry.
I'm in a hurry.
Well, you gotta hold on.
Oh, here she
Diane's
comes.
here. Diane's present.
Hey, how are you?
Happy belated Mother's Day.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on that, so we need to,
All in favor?
all in
Well,
favor.
let's let Diane sit down.
Sit down, yeah.
All right, so Diane, Ned made a motion to amend the agenda to add 391 Glen Springs Road, the old doctor's office that we had discussed before, to the agenda for discussion.
And I'll second it.
Ned and motioned and Don seconded it, so now we're gonna vote on it.
You'll need a 2/3 majority to add it at this
We
point.
need a 2/3 majority. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, shall we discuss that now?
Yes, I would like to.
Patrick?
Sure.
You would like to discuss it now, okay?
Okay, what I'd like to do is add that to the 30 that we're changing over, from the 30 we're changing over in, the town, the central business area, add it on to that and change it back to, either or, you could do either or, residential or commercial.
What zoning district are you wanting to change that to?
C2, I think it is, and that's either or. You can have residential and commercial.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to make it C2,
Yes.
C1?
So C1 is, yeah, you can't have both, yeah. C2 you can, right? Am I right, Patrick?
I'll have to see, I have to look back and see, but I think it was already requested to change it to C2 and it failed. So it would take a
At the
year to come back.
Council. It'll take a year to come back to council to vote on.
I mean, Y'all can discuss it and make a recommendation, but council couldn't vote on it for a year from the time it was denied.
Didn't we already vote?
Well, we did, and they didn't, they
Oh.
shot it down, the council did. I think we voted no on it.
Yeah.
Majority.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is that we already heard from the public regarding that property, and it's not in the central business district, it's outside of,
It's in a residential.
it's in a residential area, and the building's so dilapidated that it needs to
What?
be,
Why,
Torn down
are we gonna, penalize him for having a commercial thing down there? I mean, it was commercial before, even when we had it before we sold it, it was commercial. It was commercial. We sold it as commercial. And so why are we gonna penalize him for, being commercial?
He asked us to rezone it.
Yeah, because we changed it to a residential to start with.
because he requested that we change it to residential. He was, from what
we
Patrick told the planning commission, you were the mayor at the time.
I know.
Patrick told the planning commission that he wanted to make that building into townhouses, and in the back it was R20. So we accommodated him.
I think we're against, commercialization of any of it. I mean, we okayed, it staying commercial up there, on the housing, and now we're saying, we can't do it down here on 150. I don't understand that. We're gonna leave it over there and leave it to be an eyesore. I mean, it's an eyesore over there right now.
Well, didn't he say-
Because we left it, hang on, because we left it at that, and these guys broke into it, tore it all up. We didn't have the police force to enforce it and stop them from tearing it up. And now we're gonna penalize him for not not being a commercial and residential thing. I mean, it's commercial to start with.
But I think our main point is the people that live around it came and they don't want auction houses and stuff that, and I could understand that because it's in the middle of a residence.
Well, how about he has a dog place, a kennel or whatever, or what am I trying to say?
Well, it's like once we approve it, we can't pick and choose what he chooses to put in there.
Well, that's what I say, we picked and choose to start with. We chose that he couldn't put a auction house in there to start with. We chose to do that. That's picking and choosing. If he got something to sell, he can't control that.
I know, but we
sometimes.
accommodated him to rezone it as he wanted, and then when he wanted to change it back, the people that live around it didn't want that.
So-
And at the end of the day, they live there, we don't.
Just a clarification, did you make a motion to change it to C2? Is that what
Did I?
you did?
That's what he said.
Did it?
Okay, if he had made a motion to make it C2, it would need a second.
Before we discuss it.
Yeah, is there a second?
Yeah, I did.
Don
Okay,
did,
you
and then we
seconded.
all voted to discuss it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, no,
Okay.
the second was to add it to the agenda.
Yes, we
Now
have
it's-
not voted
We had
to,
not
I
voted.
hadn't made a motion to do that yet.
Okay.
All mine was for the agenda.
for the
Okay.
agenda.
That's all the motion I made.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you said you wanted to discuss it now, before the new business.
So you need to make a motion to discuss it.
Yeah,
And,
okay.
Can we get a motion to
But
discuss it?
I'll make a motion to discuss it then.
You second?
A second.
So Ned made a motion, she seconded it to discuss it.
Yes, yeah, it's on there for discussion. I didn't know if someone had made a motion to change it to C2. Okay.
No, well, that's what Ned had said in the beginning was C2, when he made the motion.
He just made it. Just-
Okay.
Okay.
What did you say about waiting a year or whatever? What was it?
Sir?
What did you say about waiting a year to change it?
Yeah, so the way it works on with Robert's Rules of Order on there is that if someone on if it comes to the council and the council denies it, then it can't be brought back up for another year.
If it goes to the zoning appeals,
It wouldn't go to zoning appeals at that point, no, because it's not you're not appealing the council decision on there.
What are you
When did-
appealing then? What would you be appealing then?
Sir?
What would he be appealing then? If he wasn't appealing
He's not,
there?
it can't go to the Board of Zoning Appeals, right?
Right.
It cannot go to them, it comes to us. So when did they vote on it? When did council vote on it? Do you know what month that was?
I'll have to look and see.
2 months ago, should have been March.
I think it's more than that.
It's been a while.
I want to say it was like October. October,
Yeah, they
November.
had veterinarian wanting to do it, yeah, to go in there. And they can't do it with
What's that? That's what they're wanting now?
that's what that's who's wanting to buy it.
And we had a discussion, and we spoke with some of the.
It don't matter, yeah. If we're gonna hold it to a year, I mean, yeah.
Point of order, please.
We're
That
having-
means I was speaking, and I'd like to not be interrupted.
Go ahead then.
What do you have to say, Kim?
We had a discussion with some of the property owners around there, and we talked to them about what types of businesses would they agree to. You remember, we talked, I know Mr. Crocker spoke with us about it, and, you know, we were talking about, say, not restaurants, but, you know, beauty shops or daycares or something that would be closed by the evening hours. Was that not what we
Like
talked
9 to
about?
5. 9 to 5 business.
So, you know, a veterinary might work, but they can't vote on it for another year.
Did you find that?
I think that's putting, yeah, I don't know.
So here's a question, Patrick. Would it have to come before us again? Or would it go directly to the council?
He's looking.
Businesses are allowed to.
If it's voted down, he doesn't have a way of appealing. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
I think they would be okay with most of these,
I don't
as long
see
as that's the only.
how that works.
You know what I mean, not.
The planning commission, I believe this is it from, it was requested back in December 1st of last year,
Then that's what he
and
does.
then it went to council meeting.
They had to have 2 readings on it or just one because they passed it the first vote?
If it doesn't pass the first vote, it doesn't go to a second.
So C1, it doesn't say that they can do that.
That was it.
I just hate to sit
December
there.
4th. I had to look on my phone to see when he was contacting me. It was December 4th was when we had, was the
Yeah, so
council
it was-
meeting.
Yeah, December 4th is when it was brought up, and
So they can't vote on it again until December of 2026.
No, it was December 24, so it'd be December.
Councilman Williams made a motion.
was
There was
December 4th
no
was the meeting.
second, and so it died.
It died. So what exactly does that mean?
So that means that it can't be brought up to council again for another year. Unless something, substantial enough changes. So he couldn't request the C2 again. Now, if he wanted to request a C1, C3, C4, there's other
What does
options.
C3 say? Be
C3 is
request-
Central Business District. It's like where the coffee shop is.
No,
No
no.
setback requirements.
Could they do a veterinary office under C1?
What was that again?
Could they do a veterinary office under C1?
They could.
They could?
Is that what
But can you,
Could they do restaurants under
Yes.
C1? They could do them, it's not, I thought C1 was conditional.
he not, he right
So
there.
what has happened is,
Restaurant.
kind of backing up on this, is the plan from, I believe the last time the planning commission got together was that we were going to update the C1 zoning district to make restaurant a conditional use. And that was sent to council to approve. Did not realize that that could potentially cause some undue burden on the current restaurants that are located in C1, Phil's and China King, which is why those are on your agenda right now, to consider the possibility of moving those from C1 to C2, and then enabling properties like this and then there was a recommendation to council, so that recommendation to change the C1 to make restaurant a conditional use has been tabled from council. And the last time when we discussed this, it was, let's wait until Phil's and China King can get rezoned from C1 to C2, so they are restaurant by right. And then C1 could be altered, and then once C1 is altered, then this property could be C1, and it would not allow restaurant except for by conditional use through the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, so C1 would work for him.
Yeah,
And that would protect the people around it, because everything else that can go in there is like,
And it-
but
they don't want restaurants.
yeah, but he said that they're gonna take that
We
out
could-
and be conditional.
okay, those are two different, flats of land too, right? Two different.
It was only
The
requested,
7 acres behind is different from the
It's
front
landlocked,
three.
yes.
yeah, both
2.5
properties,
acres in the front, and the back was 7 or 7.5 acres, but it's landlocked.
Well, but if they own both of them, but, I mean, they can
Yeah,
have
but if
a-
he sells
they have-
the front
they can
and
put
not
an
the
easement
back.
through- They can put an easement through there, though.
what I would suggest is wait until, if council approves for those two properties to be moved from C1 to C2, once that happens, then council would move forward on potentially, it's up to them. If they want to change C1 to make restaurant a conditional use, then that offers the possibility of Mr. Ravan applying for his property to be C1. Then at that point, it would only be a restaurant by a conditional use, and there are conditions that the Board of Zoning Appeals would put on that property. It has to go before public hearing. It would have to be reviewed by the Board of Zoning Appeals, and there'd be a limitation in terms of the hours, so it could not be open late.
That's about the best we're gonna do,
Yeah.
to be able to protect.
There's a plan in place that if everything gets approved the way the direction's going, it offers Mr. Ravan the opportunity to go to C1, but doing it now would be
Okay,
premature.
yeah, okay. That's fine, yeah. Just as long as, I mean, I can't see him selling it for residential right now. And they've got their hands tied. And
And the
I think
issue with the
we would
years-
be beneficial to having, like
Stole my whole book.
something like,
And if you've got a copy, if you don't have a copy, there's copies up there if you want to look at.
Copy of what?
Copies of the zoning ordinance.
yes.
And look on there for C1, and to see if he's okay with everything that's in C1. Keep in mind that if council approves it, it'll be taking restaurants out as a right by use.
Well, they're not
Use by
interested in
right.
a restaurant.
Well,
What number was it?
It would probably be a good idea just to refer him
31.
to Patrick and let Patrick explain to him how it works to get something rezoned and not
skip
one
it.
of us trying to,
Let's get going, there it is. Okay, I got it.
just to make sure he's clear and
Put a
everything.
golf course there.
He knows the procedure of how to
Seven-
get
seven
something
acres.
rezoned.
So council is currently,
Yeah.
they have tabled it. It'll be at the next council meeting to
They got-
rezone
They got some,
or to
good-
change how C1
you know,
is set
things
up.
that could be put in there.
They have to
So we
have,
have to
Veterinarian will be
wait.
really good.
Hey, hold on.
Veterinarian will be good.
you have to have 2 readings on that. And then coming back behind there, what I have on your agenda right now is to change those 2 properties that are currently occupied by Phil's Steakhouse and China King. Those can go before council at the June meeting. And so in theory, if they pass it at the June 4th meeting and then the June 25th meeting, it could take care of all that. And it could be, if council wants to do it, they could do it all at one time.
Then we could start having discussions about,
Then at that point, once those things are done, you could come back. Now, if you wanted to, if he's in a hurry, I mean, if y'all want to have a meeting in mid-June, and that'll be between the first reading and the second reading of those changes, that he could go ahead and request at the planning commission meeting in June to change his property to C1. And then when they're having the second readings on the other stuff, he's requesting a change to C1 on his property. And then it wouldn't take effect until the second reading, which would be in August.
Okay.
Let
But
me
it's
ask
still
you a
an
question. If it's that C1, could he sell to that auction house and that auction house come in there and
He's not gonna sell it to that.
I have to look at the limitations in terms of what they can do. I don't know that because I think there was limitations for hours on there as well.
Okay.
That was changed on there as well.
okay. Yeah, I just don't want him to come in and backdoor
You know what
it.
I'm sorry?
No, it was mainly for,
No.
and keep in mind that when you rezone a property, don't just think about the use that's being requested. Think about all the uses that that district provides, which is why the neighborhood was concerned that the auction house doesn't work out, you've already zoned it to C2, and then all of a sudden a restaurant comes in.
because they don't want a
Yeah.
restaurant at all.
Right, and this was a compromise before the neighborhood to allow the property to be professional offices, light retail, but not have the full-scale operation of a restaurant.
Kim, it's on page 331, the permitted
Oh, great.
uses
Oh,
in your book.
Okay.
3-31.
And it's very limited to like financial things,
Okay, good.
government buildings, golf course, nursing home.
What I was asking earlier, Patrick, those are 2 different, area, I mean, they're 2 different sections. I mean, they're not combined. I mean, they're not a whole 10 acres.
They're separate parcels.
Right, they're listed as 2 separate parcels, and so if and when that time comes, it would be, you would have to do 2 separately.
Yeah. Well, they just worried about the front one there anyway. But I think that would, we could, I could tell him,
I would ask
what we discussed, that, that we can bring it back, he could bring it back after all this happens, And,
Well, the thing is his request to go to C1 would be different than requesting it to go to C2, so it wouldn't take a year to come back.
right.
Yeah, I would suggest that you just ask him to speak with Patrick and let Patrick explain to him exactly.
That might be the best option.
Well, it's fine
But
with
at
me.
least
I'm not.
we can start having
I'm
the
just-
discussions once.
I'm just bringing
Yeah,
the
I mean,
discussion up, that what he called me about, and, I'm not gonna, handle it, and I'll just tell him what was told to me, and he'll have to talk to Patrick about the rest of it.
Hypothetically, what would make sense is at the June 4th meeting, council is then approving the rezoning of Phil's, the rezoning of China King, and the changing of C1 uses on there. And then at the June 25th meeting, they're making it permanent. And then during the 2 readings,
He can apply.
he could come and request the C1 and could have the first reading when they have the second reading. and then have the second reading for him in August, and that would work out fine.
Okay. That's fine with me.
Okay. Old business, discussion for ordinance 2026-15 to establish residential exterior lighting standards.
Have y'all have a chance to look through this, or do you want to just go through it?
Let's go through it.
So the purpose, I'll just read through. The purpose of this section is to prevent light trespass and glare from residential properties that negatively impact adjacent properties while allowing reasonable lighting for safety and security. So this is only residential to residential lighting ordinance issues. The exterior lighting on residential properties in the town of Packlet, direction shielding. Lighting shall be directed downward. Lighting shall be directed downward and onto the property on which it is located. Lighting shall not be directed toward adjacent properties or into windows or neighboring dwellings. Spotlights and floodlights shall be positioned and shielded to prevent light from projecting beyond the property lines. These are the prohibited conditions: lighting that shines directly into neighboring residences or yards, floodlights aimed horizontally or outward onto adjacent properties, lighting that creates glare visible from neighboring properties. We won't go into a demonstration tonight unless you want to table this, and I can come and bring a light meter. But the illumination measured at the property line shall not exceed 0.5 foot candles. And that's just a measurement to be able to determine if it's too bright. And so measurements can be taken handheld light meter by the code enforcement officer. Non-essential exterior lighting shall be turned off between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless the lighting is activated by a motion sensor or the lighting is necessary for safety or security purposes.
That excludes Christmas lights, right?
We're getting there.
Didn't we? Okay. Because you know, I like the Christmas light.
The section shall be enforced by the code enforcement officer upon receipt of a complaint. It is a violation if found. The property owner shall be notified and given a reasonable time to correct the issue prior to the enforcement action, and compliance may include repositioning fixtures, adding shielding and reducing brightness, or installing timers or motion sensors. The following are exempt: temporary lighting for emergencies or repairs, seasonal holiday lighting.
That
Street lighting,
actually includes Christmas, doesn't it?
Christmas decorations.
I like to hear yours.
Street lighting or utility-owned lighting. And so any person who violates the provisions of this section shall be deemed guilty of misdemeanor and upon conviction shall be subject to penalties as provided in section 1-14 of the Town of Packlet Code of Ordinances, which states that they would have a $500 fee plus court cost. Is that?
So my question is, will code enforcement come out at night to check these candles?
So it can either be code enforcement, or I can work with, we can work with the police department to be able to identify the issues. But we can request and see if we can have some nights that code enforcement can work in the evening times or come early in the morning. But if there is a complaint, we can go about it that way. At least now, when there's a complaint and we can go out there and see it, there is, if this passes, this can be addressed. Before, it could not.
So this doesn't include, say, over there at the doctor's office, if they put something in there and they put lights all over and it's shining into the neighbor's house, that doesn't count.
You already have
That's
that in your,
excluded.
you already have that in your zoning ordinance.
Okay, under the C2, C3.
Anytime that you have lighting, if you, there's a section on lighting that I've looked at, because that property, Mr. Gravan's property, because there's residential properties adjacent to them, all the lights have to be interior facing.
Okay,
They can't be
just
exterior.
checking.
What about these lights, the street lights that Dick Power and those people put up
That's not these.
to make sure, are they in compliance with all this, or
Yeah,
or
they
do y'all
have
run this by them to make sure?
this, it has the street lighting and utility-owned lighting is exempt from this.
Okay.
So when people have like the big poles put in their yard with a light from like Duke Power, is that considered utility-owned lighting, or
Yes, because I mean, it's still their lighting that's out there.
So like my neighbor has 3 of those in his yard, how would that,
Could we put in there that we only allow one?
like literally 3 of those?
Only one in the back? Instead of 3, can we limit it?
Well, the thing is, well, we could change it so,
Why would Duke Power do that?
The
If you
customer
request it.
requests it.
Okay.
You request it, they'll do it.
It's
Most
more
of the
money
time.
for them.
pay for it.
Yeah, you pay for it that way.
yeah, it's still their utility poles and their stuff.
Yep.
You end up just paying a fee to have it lit. If that's something that you want to, is this, I think it would be exempt from that if someone wanted to put those in their backyard.
So even if they put in 3 and they're in your back window, they're okay?
What's that?
So if they put 3 in their backyard and it lights up your whole house and your home inside?
But that's not really a utility pole. Like the one in my yard is a utility pole. It supplies the electric to my house and all the houses along the road. That's a utility pole. If it's privately put up, is it still considered a utility pole? I would guess that it wouldn't be, right?
So-
Because it's not a necessity. It's not, no utilities go to it except for a light.
It may not, I have to think, I don't, you can write whatever you want to in there, but you could say that, that
Privately
lighting that is
owned.
installed by Duke Energy or some type of municipality on private property.
Well, I wonder if you could do on there that it just add to it that it excluding utility, like true utility poles that provide electric and cable.
The pole or the light?
The pole.
The pole doesn't count under this. You still have a pole out there.
Yeah, you could still have the pole there, but if there's a utility light on it, either I requested to have it on or it's on a utility pole that's in my yard.
Right, the difference is, are you requesting the utility company to install that, or did you install something on their utility?
Well, that's my exact point. Mine is on a utility pole that is owned by Duke Energy,
What do you want this ordinance to address?
excluding utility poles owned by utility companies.
That's what's in here. Well, you've got street lighting or utility-owned lighting.
Utility, so that would not be, well, take the utility pole, I don't know.
The pole,
All 3 of those lightings are, even though they pay for them, they're owned by Duke Power.
But they put them up.
Yeah, but it says utility-owned lighting. So even though they asked for it, those poles in their yard, those 3 lights, are owned by Duke Power.
Are you sure about that?
Well, why don't you talk to Duke Power and then tell them if it's bothering you on your property? See
I don't
what
care.
they can do about it.
Just to let them find out.
If they
who's-
can take it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's responsible.
But it's owned by it's private lighting.
Yeah, but
In their
it's-
backyard. Like the one in my yard is,
Yeah, but when you request Duke Power to put a pole in your yard, just for lighting, they own that pole and light.
Yeah, sure they do.
Well, you know, Duke
But you're
Power,
paying for it though.
Yeah.
Duke Power has soft lights too that don't shine that bright.
Yeah.
So maybe, do you talk to your neighbors?
I can, but
what you could do is you could say that, although the, utility poles, utility lighting on private property requested through the utility still has to maintain the 0.5 foot candles at the property line.
Well, that's one, yeah.
on private property, on,
Yeah, so
Privately
if you
owned.
request to have a security light or
yeah, I
a
forget what
street
they're
style
called.
light, or they call them Cobra heads, on the property, on your private property that you pay for. You pay for the monthly service to have it out there, that those cannot exceed the 0.5 foot candles at the property line of the adjacent property.
That's what we're doing.
So you're saying that you could talk to Duke Power and they would do that?
Well, no, I'm saying is they would not, even if they were, the only the way those lights are put out there is if they're requested by the property owner.
Right.
And the property owner is paying for them. So it's kind of a quasi, I mean, they're not gonna be, Duke's not gonna put that out there because they're just out of, like, they're not gonna go out there until someone requests them to go out there. And so they can always come down. What I'm saying is I'm not sure if I'm making myself, it's not a matter of making Duke put it down, is if it's on their private property, it's requested by Duke Energy, we just let them know that until they fix that, until they have Duke Energy to take it down, that they're in violation of the ordinance.
Maybe Angelique need an interpreter. To go over and communicate with the people.
Yeah.
Instead of changing the whole, you know. I mean, really. Because we changing a whole bunch of stuff because of one thing.
No, but this will also affect, so if anybody else builds apartment places, if somebody builds across from your house and decides to put in string lights, floodlights, and 3 lights, they won't interrupt your.
I know
your
what you're
peace.
saying. I know exactly what you're
Just a
saying.
suggestion is you could go ahead and just recommend as is, which will take care of, I think, 95%, I think, of
Yeah.
the problem. And see how it goes and see how it's receptive to the community. Because, y'all are 6 people that are up there. There may be, once it goes out there and it starts getting enforced, you may hear from a lot of your constituents very quickly about this.
A lot of
Or
people
for or
don't
against.
complain about it or come forward about it until,
Right, because most people communicate with their neighbors.
No, they don't.
Well, in my neighborhood, they do.
My neighborhood, you can,
98%
not all
of-
brackets.
98% of what we do in code enforcement is one neighbor wants another neighbor to do something, and because they're unwilling to go and talk to that neighbor themselves, because they tell us all the time, can you tell my neighbor to do something with his dog and with his yard and all that kind of stuff? And I'm like, have you considered contacting them directly? Well, we don't want them to be upset with me.
like, they're not gonna
Cece and I
know.
already went out there and talked to them.
To the. But I think it would be kind of hard to get, Duke Power. Like I say, they have those lights, the lights that you're talking about, because we have one on our pole that don't shine real bright. And that's why I was saying that, because the bulbs could be changed. I mean,
And
it
when
could
you-
be simple.
When you request it, and we may even say this, we could reach out to Duke and see if, because they have different levels of brightness to their
Yes.
poles.
Oh, yeah.
Because we just there was a request back when Mr. Hood was on council to put in a street light at the intersection of Sunset and Hillbrook. And we had the highest strength on that, but they had 3 different levels of, and what we could say is based on what we're seeing here, that you can't go higher than the first level or the second level for on private properties.
So do we wanna go with this? Anyone wanna make a motion to
I'll motion
adopt this,
to adopt this. What is it, direction
2026?
2026-15?
And we're adopting it as is, or are we adopting it with some of the thing that I mentioned about utility poles in the backyards, or are you just gonna wait to see how this gets received first?
We can wait to see how it gets received, because if it goes through with the light meter thing, the 5 candles, even if they have the 3, it shouldn't pass that 5 candle rule, so they'll still have to do something.
Well, that part's not, so it, like the way it says right now, is street lighting or utility-owned lighting is exempt completely. Not from the foot candles and everything. I'm talking about as is the way it's currently written. I just want to make sure that you're clear so that we don't pass something and
Yeah,
then.
so that will basically do nothing for the light problem.
Right.
No, it would, the light problem if they are utility-owned lights, so you get Duke Energy to put up a light in the backyard, then that would be exempt. Now, if they put up private floodlights and spotlights and all that kind of stuff, that would be part of this.
Yeah, but most of they have floodlights, they have spotlights, they have string lights, and they have 3 pole lights.
So the pole lights are the ones that's shining in your house, right?
Is it Duke
Those are the pole
Energy?
lights.
Are they Duke Energy lights?
They have to be. CC and I went out there and talked to them and asked them if they could try to do something. They said they would, nothing ever came to fruition. So it's just, like, right now I have a little bit of break because the trees are starting to grow. So during the summer I get a little bit of a break, but soon from fall
I mean, the ones that I've seen that were mounted on a garage or a utility shed.
No, they have 3 freestanding poles. Then they have floodlights on the side of the house, the back of the house, the garage. Then they have string lights going from the garage to the house. And then they've added another floodlight on the side of the house.
But you can buy utility poles and put them in yourself. I think they purchased the poles and put those lights out there. I don't think they belong to Duke Energy.
The guy from CC&I said he thought they did. I don't know, because he went out there and he just called.
So the exemption, street lighting or utility-owned lighting,
You could.
can we put not on private property?
Yeah, you could set it up.
Just
so
add
this
not
is-
on private property, not
You-
located on private
You say
property?
street lighting or utility-owned lighting within the right-of-way.
That'll be good.
Yes. I make a motion to change that.
I second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Wait a minute now, say that again.
So they're changing this to say street lighting or utility-owned lighting, not in the right of way.
So so street lights, any lights that, any street style lights or utility-owned lights that are within the right-of-way, the roads.
Like on the
Is exempt.
sidewalks and stuff, that would be the right of way for the
Yeah, I know.
utility.
So it would be okay if somebody wanted to put one in their backyard, just
Yeah.
one night in their
Yeah.
backyard. That's what,
If you want to put one in the backyard, that's fine, as long as it doesn't
Bother
violate.
anybody.
Garage thing is right.
I mean, they could put 3 if nobody complains about it. But the minute somebody complains, they can do something.
And it was shining right in your window, you could do nothing. But now if they put it in, they'd have to shield it or do
Miss-
something to do
and
that.
then, they should be.
Ms. Easler, you made the motion to amend this,
So-
Yes, I
and
did.
then there was a second by Ms.
Ms. Green?
Green? Okay. And then it has.
All in
not-
favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, 5B, discussion for ordinance 2026-16 to establish standards for accessory structures. I thought we finished this last time.
We didn't actually we talked about stuff, but we never actually decided on what needs to be the case. So what has happened on here and what you're looking at is, this is for detached garages, carports, storage buildings and sheds, workshops, barns, similar structures. So the maximum size, the total combined floor area of all accessory structures on a lot shall not exceed 50% of the heated floor area of the principal residential structure.
But did that up there say it does not apply to accessory dwelling units?
That's correct.
But we
Yes.
wanted this to kind of combine the two.
ADU is a completely separate animal that's on there, and it's already in your ordinance. This is just for your sheds and garages and barns and storage buildings. In no case shall the total combination of floor area of accessory structures exceed 1,500 square feet or 50% of the principal structure, whichever is less. If there's any request for it to be larger than the maximum, it would have to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals. No accessory structure shall exceed the height of the principal residential structure. In no case shall an accessory structure exceed 20 feet in height.
But what if there are buildings that already exceed 20 feet in height?
There's nothing we could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless it would burn down or a tree
Unless it-
fell on it or something like that, unless
Or
it
if they
was
wanted to-
destroyed.
if they wanted to expand it and make it bigger or taller, then
They
it would
could
fall
not.
before this, and you couldn't.
But this does not include existing buildings.
That's correct.
Okay.
Grandfather.
So basically, if somebody came and built a house, they can't have a barn or building bigger than their house.
That's correct.
Okay. People do that, but for some reason.
Now, this is one thing on there, let's see. Shall be located in the rear of the property, side yard, accessory structure shall not be placed in front of the principal structure. This last section on here, already is in the ordinance.
Yeah.
Accessory structure shall maintain a minimum of a setback of 3 feet. I didn't know if y'all wanted for that to be larger, based on the size of the building.
Because the way my property is
Okay.
laid out, it couldn't be 3 feet.
What do you mean?
Because my house is my property, like our red building.
It's 3 feet from the
mine's
property
fine.
line.
No, it's saying behind, isn't it?
It's grandfather. And it's on the side, it's not in the front.
I know, but what if it burned? I couldn't.
All
Like a-
accessory
like a-
structures shall maintain
an accessory
a
dwelling
setback
unit
of 3 feet from all property
Or a
lines.
structure on there has to be more than, has to be more than 3 feet. Because you know your house has to be like 15 feet off the side. Your accessory buildings like this do not have to be within that same setback as your house.
I think 3 feet is fine.
Okay.
I mean, I think 3 feet for an accessory building is acceptable. Maybe, if you're not the neighbor.
And no more than 3 accessory structures shall be permitted per residential lot. So that's a carport, that's a storage building, and a barn. No more than that.
What about chicken coop? Does that count?
What's that?
A
I
chicken
think
coop?
that should go by the size of the property, not
Does that actually count?
because if you. have
Yes, a
3
chicken
acres, you
coop would
have a
be,
barn and this, chicken coop.
an accessory unit. Especially if it's like a,
Like one of them huge ones.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a big one. I mean, it's,
I
and a lot of this stuff it really comes up when you've got neighbors who are complaining.
yeah.
Well, I have a garage, 2 sheds, chicken coop, carport. I mean, I'm one of them people.
Is there a way that it could go by the lot size? Because if somebody has like 10 acres
Yeah, I was about to say, if somebody's got a lot.
and they're like gardening and farming or whatever, they're gonna have a barn, they're gonna have a shed, they're gonna have carport. Like, I think it would make more sense if we could do it by like so much per acre.
Maximum tree accessory
We can always
structure
divide
shall
up
be
the lot.
permitted.
That's another way of doing it.
Residential lot, could we put in there under 2 acres, under an acre?
It's up to y'all.
I would do
I think
Under
an
an
acre.
an acre.
I think that's,
That
Could we
always
add
keeps
that?
the village.
For properties
Yeah.
under an acre?
So this is just for properties under an acre?
That number 7, number of structures, maximum of 3. Could we put in there excluding properties over 1 acre?
Okay, so any properties that are less than an acre are maxed out at the 3?
At 3, yeah,
And then there's no maximum beyond that, if you're over an acre.
yeah.
No, that makes
Well, I don't know about no maximum, but
I got 3 acres.
maybe.
Well, the
per
other thing
acre,
that's
you
on
can have
there,
3
keep in
buildings per
mind,
acre.
is you could take the 3
I don't think
off of there
anybody's gonna,
altogether,
you know what I
because
mean.
remember it says that it can be no more than 50% of the principal structure. So if you've got a 1,000 square foot house, you can have no more than 500 square feet of accessory dwellings. So you could have 5 that are 100 square foot apiece, but you couldn't have 6 that are 100 square feet apiece.
that's not fair.
That's too junky looking.
I think it makes more sense about the height than the actual size of the building.
Could we do 3 per acre? 3 accessory
But
buildings?
still keep the 50% of the. Because the other thing you may want to consider is you have one residential unit and 1,000, or just a bunch of, buildings in the back.
Do you really want that?
You have to
people do.
legislate for it, otherwise people are gonna do it. I mean, you look at the property that's, you're not to pick anybody out, but that property that's for sale on the other side of the railroad tracks of 150. And there's about 10 units that are out there. And they're all
And that
connected
one where
together.
they used to do the haunted thing, that was all building, it still is, isn't it?
What's that?
Where they did the haunted.
Yes, I believe it was several buildings that were all connected together.
Yeah. That's a lot of square footage.
Oh, yeah, maybe per acre. Cut down on some of that.
The main thing with the 50% on there is so that you don't have like basically a dominating accessory unit that dwarfs the size of the house.
So could we put it in there 3 accessory per acre and then 1 accessory building per additional acre? So if they have 1 acre, they could have 3, but the second acre, they could only have 1, the third, they could only, because then they could have 4, and if they had 3 acres, they could have 5, if they had,
Yeah.
and so on.
And that it has to be on the separate acres. Like, they don't say, oh, I have 5 acres, so I'm gonna put 10 buildings behind my house.
Yeah, and all aligned.
And they'll try it.
Yeah.
My thing is the 50% of principal structure.
That's
So
what
a
I-
maximum,
Maybe not to exceed the square footage of the principal structure. So if you have a 1,500 square foot house, you could build a 1,500 square foot garage, or you could have a 1,000 square foot building, accessory building, and then have a 500 square foot shed, right? It's 50% of that.
Cause that kinda sucks, cause if somebody only has a, 900 square foot house but has 10 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you could also table this and discuss this again and think about it a little more too.
Anyone want to table this?
I make a motion to table it.
I don't know if they'd table it.
Can I get a
Would we
second?
resolve it if we tabled it later?
Well, it gives us something to think about until the
Yeah.
June meeting.
So
I just hate
is there a
micromanaging people's
problem
properties.
in the town that we're trying to address by making this ordinance? Is there a certain, a certain area where this is causing issues? And so we're trying to get a
This
little
was-
more restricted?
This was requested by the planning commission. That's the reason it's on here. I'm not gonna call out which one of your council members or members requested this.
Okay.
But someone on the planning commission requested to have a restriction on the accessory buildings.
Well, I know, I've spoken with someone about somebody living in a,
Yes, and that's illegal.
Yeah.
There was a motion. I think
I don't know, but
motion.
somebody got their hand up in the back. Can we speak to that person?
What's that?
Behind you.
If you come up,
You can come up.
can you come up to the podium, please?
Will that only be for like town limit or city and,
In the city limits of Packlet.
all right, I was just asking.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be great if we could like,
Cause my thing, it's not the size of the building, it's the height. If it's behind
But my pond's gone, has a building that's bigger than this house.
my regular house.
there's a motion to table. Is there a second to table?
Get a motion to table this until the June meeting?
Diane motion.
Can I get a second?
second.
All in favor to table? Anyone opposed? Okay. Discussion for ordinance 2026-06 to rezone multiple properties from C3 to C2, reconsider.
This went before council, and council asked for it to come back to the planning commission to consider doing in chunks and not all at one time.
And also that address,
What was that reason for that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can give us a reason.
I made the recommendation to them that, 31 properties all at one time, that the property owners have not been spoken to about this.
Okay.
That rezoning 31 properties at one time would potentially cause a ruckus in town.
Okay.
And then we would be putting out 31 signs throughout throughout this particular area that it may make more sense for us to take 5 or 6 at a time and go talk to those property owners and tell them what we're looking to do and why, before we get a bunch of letters going out to a lot of residents and their neighbors about this big change.
And the phone's ringing off the hook over here.
Well, I know that Councilman Williams brought up a suggestion about the mobile homes and the 50% burn, and that we may just do away with that. In the meeting, he was talking about the house that his church owned, and then which we did talk about that. We did have it in our group of properties. But he was saying that the house, if a mobile home burned, that, you know, we said you couldn't rebuild.
You can.
If it's non-conforming already. And he said, let's just do away with that language.
So it's,
Across the board, he said
Across
that
the
in the
board,
meeting.
and I think that's a good idea, because I don't think, I mean, we should not be able to say, you know, you have this piece of property, and say my brother owns it, and I live there in a mobile home, and it burns, that it can't, that's my family's land, I should be able to replace my mobile home, because, you know, that's maybe all that person can afford. And I don't think we should be that strict on the people that live here. I think that, you know, we can grow, but we can grow when,
Is that something that we would do, or is that something that council would initiate?
well, we would have to, wouldn't we have to?
you have to initiate it here.
initiate
Okay.
it? I just don't think that we should be saying, you know, you got this land, but, you know, if your house burns, or your mobile home burns, you have to build a house, and they may not can afford it. and
I
that's
think we
not-
all said that from the beginning,
Yeah, that's just not fair to the
Something
people.
on that, as far as it.
but I think they
But
declined it.
the problem that we ran into,
But now, Councilman Williams
Read it
has,
carefully.
the problem that you run into is we were able to do it if it was owner occupied. The attorney issue was that if you set it up so that anybody can replace their mobile home on any property that currently has a mobile home, that you would be in a litigation issue and have to allow mobile homes to be built anywhere in the entire town of Packard.
But it was for owner occupied.
We were able to get through it with owner occupied.
Okay, but, you know, it's a family, it's family-owned property. You know,
That's
I'm
technically
just-
owner occupied, right?
that would.
What's that?
Would that not be
That's
technically owner
technically-
occupied?
Family land?
If she and I were sisters, if we were sisters, and she
If the
inherited-
person who owns the property lives in the property, that is owner occupied.
Lives in the building or on the property is what she's asking. So you have two houses, one person owns the property.
You can't have 2 houses on a lot.
Yes, you can.
Nope. It's in our ordinance.
Where's it in our ordinance that
It
says
may have
you
been
can't-
grandfathered in on some properties out there, but you cannot build more than 2 houses on one lot.
Okay, so like I said, there's two houses on one lot, which you just said, you can't build more than two houses on one
No,
lot.
you cannot build, I'm sorry, you can't build more than 1 house per lot. You can't build 2 houses on 1 lot.
You're confusing me again.
Thank you.
I talked to you about this the other day.
So in Packlet, there are 2 houses built on one lot,
There
different places.
is very limited. There's only, I think, about 1 or 2 properties, but they've also been vacant long enough that there's one that's on Dogwood Circle that has 4 or 5 homes that are on one particular property. But all of them have been vacant, and half of them need to be condemned because the property owner lives in England, but that's a different story. But no, you can only have 1 house per lot.
Yes, it will.
But back to what you were saying before is owner occupied is defined as the person who owns the property lives on the residence.
So it has to be the person the taxes are in.
If you're not getting your 4% owner occupied,
You're not, okay.
you're not owner occupied.
So if your parents own the house and they live in another state, but you living in it right now,
You always,
I would go by, if the county has you listed as owner occupied on your taxes,
Yeah.
Just add that person to the deed.
I mean, all you got to do, it's a simple thing to solve.
Okay, discussion for ordinance 2606. Okay, so those properties that we discussed last time to transition from C3 to C2. These ones, correct?
that's correct. It'll be worthwhile if y'all want to kind of break them up into some chunks and.
Okay, well, I don't know where the confusion came from, but I know that we included, was it 181, what was that number? Owned by the church, that I was not aware that it was owned by the church.
I get that. I didn't know it was owned by the church.
That was,
I had asked you in the last meeting who owned it, and you never answered me. When we were then just started discussing the permits for the property across the street. But I know that I did say to include that property for the C2 transition. And then I guess later, we had more discussion about it, but
It was.
I would like to see that C2 also,
Sure, absolutely.
because it is a residence. I don't think it really matters if it's owned by the church, because they have more
It was a mistake.
leniency.
It was a mistake on our side that it wasn't added. I don't know why it wasn't added, but
Well, I knew I said in there that 191, or whatever the number is, 181 was to be included. I know I said to be included in C2, but could we change that? Do I have to make a motion to
Well,
have that?
it doesn't matter because the reason it came back was not because that one was not included on there. It's because it was 31 at a time.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, could you change that address by the
You
railroad
can-
tracks to?
It doesn't, like, you can throw it away. It doesn't matter because council didn't vote on this. It's coming back to us.
Okay, well,
Back to
I
us to
understand
ask.
that, but I'm asking you to please change it on the
Yes.
map and include it in the ones being transitioned, that we would like to see transitioned from C3 to C2.
It'll be added on the list, but the
Thank
list
you,
needs to be
Patrick.
done in chunks.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
All right.
all we need to do now is decide what chunks and the order
to
of
start.
the chunks that we're gonna start.
If y'all wanted to start with like Memorial, if y'all wanted to just do Memorial first or do.
I think the ones
150.
furthest from the actual central business district. So
I mean, I think
probably,
it'd be easier if you just took it by roads, because you've got your Memorial Drive, would be an easy one. And keep in mind, and I want to let you know, because this came up before, it is not a conflict of interest or any type of ex parte kind of thing. If you and me, or if y'all go and talk to property owners and tell them what you're looking to do. So it would be much better if I come with you, so it's their, planning commission, but if you want to schedule some time that myself and one or two of y'all can go out to some of these properties and just talk to them one-on-one on what we're looking to do.
so where should we start?
Actually, if you want to do it, we can just do it just like I said. I mean, if y'all just want to pick on your own, and you don't have to tell me, just call me up and say, hey, I want to go address some of these properties, and let's go take 2 or 3 of them, and then we'll go through. And then once you have all of them who are ready to go, or some of them, you kind of go with it that way.
Okay, but today we're doing all the ones that are on this list, right? Phil's, China King.
No, that's separate, we're not there yet. We're talking about these transition into
Okay.
C2.
I apologize. What I just said didn't really make a lot of sense. If y'all just want to take Memorial Drive, or take 150, or, I mean, it's up to y'all. Just pick whatever
Because there's what, 5 there on Memorial Drive, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Two.
Now, there was one in the meeting that Mr. Williams was talking about, he would like to see that, Central Business District C3. But he said it was a Memorial and West Main Street, but they're all already C3. I don't know if he's talking about that property that's owned by Mr. McGuire, that has a trailer there, and then there's a garage. Is that what he's talking about?
I think it would make sense that the property with the garage stays C3, based on what I know that council wants to do with West Main Street in terms of development.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah, because that's right in the,
Yeah, it's this one here.
yeah.
All right, so then that would be 1, 2, 3, only 4 properties on Memorial Drive if we removed that one. How many do we want to do at a time in these clusters?
Okay. If y'all want, I can just kind of, Jennifer and I can kind of put this together and kind of figure out. And then I'll give you a call or I'll send an email out to you and say who wants to come with us
Yeah, that's
on
paper.
Friday at 3 o'clock and we'll just
That's
go out
what we were
there,
just talking
or
about.
Saturday at 2 or whatever.
So there's
sounds
these
good.
3.
And
this
we can go
one.
ahead and print up a letter and what we're looking to do, and so they've got something to look at,
Them in my head.
and then go from there.
Because I
Oh, you can look at my, you can look
Yeah,
at
that sounds
my.
I
great.
need to because I.
Angelique, you want to explain to Renee since she was talking?
Oh, I will.
Don's talking to me, what?
I'll explain to you later.
We had a question.
So is Dollar General, or, because we suggested that be changed to C3.
Are you done with this? Are you gonna move on from the,
So are we gonna table this till the next time? Till the next meeting, you and Jennifer are gonna go over a list of,
They're gonna.
I don't think you need to have any vote on it, because you're gonna come back and do it individually.
so we need to table it, or do?
That's what I'm saying, I think you can just let it die.
Just let it die until June?
I mean, it was really just a discussion anyway.
Okay.
Let it roll.
He was just, well, we're changing the stuff.
You wanna move on to new
If you
business?
Talk, just let them know.
Oh, yeah. New business, discussion for ordinance 2026-08 to rezone parcel 3-29-14-035.03. 6630 South Pine Street and 3-29-08-045.01, 1413 North Highway 150. So 6630 is Phil's, and the 1413 is China King, from C1 to C2.
I'll make a
Any
motion to
discussion?
approve this.
I second.
Make a motion, we approve it?
Yeah.
I second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Moving right along, discussion for ordinance 2026-09 to rezone parcel 3-29-15-029.00, 6861 South Pine Street from C1 to C4. That's where Spartan Hydraulics is.
I've already talked about the property, he's completely good with this.
Okay. Can I get a motion to
I'll make a
approve that
motion, we
rezoning?
approve it.
I second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? 6C, discussion for ordinance 2026-10 to rezone parcel 3-33-03-027.00, 6860 South Pine Street from R20 to C4. So that's the property across from Spartan Hydraulics, which is where they drew the chrome plating
I
and,
believe Mike Wilson owns that property. It's a industrial kind of style building.
Mark.
It mistakenly got put as R20, which is residential. And so this is just a correction.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
all in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, discussion for ordinance 2026-13 to rezone parcel 3-29-15-030.00, 6855 South Pine
Did you-
Street, from C1 to C2, where Robinette Hardware was.
You think you skipped D.
Yeah, you skipped D. 'cause that's the
Oh, did
house.
I? Oh, sorry. All right, well, all right, discussion for ordinance 2026 to rezone parcel 3-33-03-027.01, 6850 South Pine Street from R20 to C1.
This is the residential building that's next to the building above that they currently own. It looks like they're using it for some of their business. And so instead of it being residential, it made more sense for it to be at least C1.
I think so, it's right next to it.
This little house there.
It looks like a little log house. Cedar siding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a question, because there's a house then right after that that looks abandoned, and it's all boarded up. I wondered if that's owned by them as
It
well?
was, when I looked it up, it was not owned by them.
No? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve
A
that?
motion to approve?
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, moving on to E now. Discussion for ordinance 2026-13 to rezone parcel 3-29-15-030.00, 6855 South Pine Street from C1 to C2 where Robinette Hardware was. Any
This was
discussion?
another one that I just looked at that just made sense, since this one in the Spartan Hydraulics for both C1. And then this was just changing it from C1 to C2 in conjunction with kind of what's happening in that area, because you're changing the 6861, which is next door to it, to C4.
Can I get a motion to approve?
A motion to approve?
Can I
I'll
get a
second.
second? Don. All in favor? Anyone opposed?
I'm beating
Okay.
on to it.
F, consider a request to rezone parcel 3-33-07-003.02, 250 Cleveland Street from R10 to RMH.
So I looked this up. It already has a RMH on it, right? When I
It
looked
does.
It does, so,
It's a single-wide mobile home.
right. So now it's just another one, right? They just want to put a new
It's
one
A
on it?
double
they're
wide.
gonna
The
put
one
a
that's
double-
there is
Bigger.
very
Okay,
old.
bigger.
It's gonna
Okay,
be
yeah.
a
They
double
just wanna
wide.
bring- they- Okay, they just want.
I make a motion.
I think they
second.
requested, let's discuss it. Let's discuss it.
Is it a new mobile home or a used?
So they're
mobile
wanting
home?
to, they currently have a single wide there, and the family is growing and wants to increase it to 2 there. And they're going to be brand-new homes that are going to be coming potentially in, I think there's a child that might be coming in August. And so wanting to have a larger place for them. It's going to look much nicer. One option that we had considered, I think, is there's 2 options. One, you go ahead and rezone this, and then it's a use by right, and they can have a mobile home there forever. The reason, since it currently has a mobile home on there, if they were replacing it with another mobile home of the same size, there'd be no issue here. Because of the fact that it's going to 2 mobile homes and it's increasing in size, that's when it becomes a problem there. So one,
2 different homes?
No, it's a double wide.
it's a double wide. I'm trying not to say double wide, just it's a larger mobile home,
Wider.
a wider mobile home. And so, one option on there, because this may not be the only one that would come before us, is consider and make a recommendation to council that any property that has a non-conforming mobile home, they can currently replace it if it's owner occupied. They can sell it to somebody else. And the recommendation is that all mobile homes that are currently in non-conforming areas could also increase in size as long as they met the requirements being no older than 10 years.
That's fine.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll conform with the lot size?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you do that, I would refund the money of the person who had applied for it being rezoned. So it's not a rezoning, it's planning commission at this point is initiating this.
I think that's
Good,
the way to go.
yeah. They got a
Yeah,
baby
save
coming.
money.
But just because the fact that we do, I think the property owner is still here. Property owner,
Is that, y'all?
Yes, congratulations.
the property owner is is here if y'all would like to hear from the property owner.
Sure.
Anything you want to say?
Anything you want to say? Come on down.
I did start a community and neighborhood support sheet, so I did have support. So I don't know if y'all wanted to know that or not.
I like the initiative.
So far, I got 32 signatures.
Well, you can add ours to our list.
Thank
Always
you.
mine.
If
We
I can get a
appreciate
copy
you
of that
taking
before
it
you
upon
leave.
yourself to do that.
Yeah.
That shows that you're wanting to be a good neighbor in that neighborhood, and we applaud you for that.
So if you want to make the recommendation that we update the zoning ordinance, and I can craft this and I'll send you an email before it goes to council.
Absolutely, because you
Absolutely.
know how we feel about
I
mobile
know.
homes anyway. We are in favor of mobile homes. So,
That is an existing mobile home that wants to be replaced, can go beyond its size.
I like
Or the
that.
size restriction no longer is in place. As long as the mobile home going in there or the manufactured home is no older than
10 years.
10 years.
Yep.
And just so you know what happens from here, it will go in front of council and they'll make the final decision. We just do a recommendation to them. And can I get a motion?
I motion.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
And you may want to come to the next council meeting and present
June.
yours.
I explained to her that the next council meeting would be on June 4th, and because of the fact that council does not have a meeting in July, this could be done at the end of June.
Okay, which would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so zoning administrator comments?
I'm just excited to be here.
I'm sure you are.
Any board comments? No board comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Make a motion, we.
You make a motion, we end the meeting?
Yep.
I second.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.